Now, in the late 1950s, a devastating famine hit China, and it lasted for years, and people were eating the bark off trees. Families were cooking each other. 30 million starved. You can look it up. And yet, you couldn't convince the government to care. You couldn't acknowledge that a famine was happening. If you tried, someone would drag you out into the woods and shoot you. You could watch someone fry some human flesh for dinner and then listen to them talk about how great things were going. And you can read about these horrors in Yang Jinsheng's epic book Tombstone. His own father died in the famine, and he spent years covertly digging through the National Archives to tell the story. Now, the majority of people don't want to believe something like this could ever happen to them. But it's going to happen. We have piles of data telling us what to expect. You know, the evidence is overwhelming. And it's already happening right in front of us. And yet, the denial only seems to get worse. News outlets are spending less time covering any crisis. And when they do, every story comes with a new mandatory tagline or something: the risk remains low at this time. Or if we do this, we'll be able to combat it. Of course, we're not doing it. What the hell's going on? More than 60 years now after the Chinese famine, I find myself reading story after story about entire societies getting high off ignoring warnings, blowing off science and shrugging as disaster movies come to life on our phones, all the while excusing genocide and wondering how innocent really are the children who happen to be in the way of our bombs. And I find myself watching politicians who can't agree on anything except banning the only platform where young people feel comfortable expressing their trauma as the world unravels. It's disturbing, but it's also just kind of dumbfounding. You wonder what could motivate this kind of behaviour. Why on earth does reality motivate so many of us to do the exact opposite of what we should? And one of the answers is cognitive dissonance. Now, if you're like me, you've probably heard that term for years. You know what it means, but you've been taking it for granted. So let's have a little look at it. Leon Festinger introduced cognitive dissonance term in the 1950s, just a few years before the Chinese famine. And basically, the idea refers to the deep discomfort it causes us when someone proves us wrong, or when we find ourselves living in contradiction with our principles. We'll do anything to alleviate that discomfort before we actually change our behaviour. In Festinger's own words, and I'm quoting him, "Tell him you disagree and he turns away. Show him facts or figures and he questions your sources. Appeal to logic and he fails to see your point." For decades, research on cognitive dissonance confirmed the most disturbing traits about our human nature: that we're impulsive and easy to manipulate. We can rationalise anything, but if our cognitive dissonance becomes too great, we can't function. We go nuts. And the denial that we're seeing now isn't new. It's as old as we are, as old as time. It's just getting worse, that's all, and the stakes are getting higher, e.g. the end of the world as we know it. I think what we're learning is that it doesn't matter if the entire fate of the species and every other species hangs in the balance. In fact, that's probably all the more reason to try and ignore it. Who's going to raise their hand and take responsibility for destroying all life on Earth? To acknowledge that your children haven't got a future. It's easier to either deny it or you find someone else to blame. Usually some marginalised minority group, such as migrants, just recently. There's several types of cognitive dissonance, and I'll go into a few of them a little bit later in the show. But that's enough now of me ranting, raving about cognitive dissonance. I think it's time for a few nice old songs. One by John Hyatt, my old friend, and we really need our friends and family at this point in history. John Hyatt, my old friend, and Remember When by another country artist, Alan Jackson. So here we go with John Hyatt.
just what it was like when we were young. I tell them I'm no different now, just late for the show. So grab your aqua lung, the loading has begun.
Remember when I was young and so were you, and time stood still, and love was all we knew. You were the first, so was I. We made love and then you cried. Remember when? Remember when we vowed the vows and walked the walk and gave our hearts, made the start and it was hard. We lived and learned life through curves. There was joy, there was hurt. Remember when? Remember when old ones died and new were born, and life was changed, disassembled, rearranged. We came together, fell apart, and broke each other's hearts. Remember when? Remember when the sound of little feet was music? We danced to week, brought back the love. We found trust, vowed we'd never give it up. Remember when? Remember when 30 seems so old now, looking back. It's just a stepping stone to where we are, where we've been. Said we'd do it all again. Remember when? Remember when we said when we turned gray, when the children grow up and move away, we won't be sad, we'll be glad for all the life we've had. And we'll remember when. Remember when. Remember when.
Okay, that was John Hyatt first up with My Old Friend, and then Alan Jackson with Remember When. Back to cognitive dissonance. There's a couple of different types of cognitive dissonance, and I suppose in a nutshell it's, where our beliefs butt up against our actions. Like, most people, they say, oh yes, I love animals, but, I'm still eating hamburgers and the Sunday roast. Or people know that CO2 is causing climate change, but we still drive cars, still take holidays on planes. We rationalise it to ourselves. So the first type is selective perception. And that's where people seek out information that confirms their beliefs. So they ignore anything that challenges those beliefs. They readily believe misinformation, for example, lies, propaganda that confirms what they want to hear. And it's not just the crazy right-wing groups doing this. Everyone does it. Nobody really wants to sit and think about information that's going to make them feel bad about themselves or put pressure on them to do things that are hard, inconvenient, or expensive. It's easy to just ignore it. And if you can't ignore it, well then you can question it and second guess it until it doesn't matter anymore. Then there's belief disconfirmation. When reality disproves someone's beliefs, they don't change their beliefs. They cling to them harder. They dive deeper. They look harder for reasons to believe. They'll accept even bigger, more outrageous lies to explain the first one. The deeper they go, the harder it gets to reverse and admit that they were wrong. That's how you wind up with stories about the myths about lockdown, how it was responsible for everything bad happening. It's not about logic anymore, it's about preserving beliefs. And if you're wondering why our current administration can't face our cost of living problems and keep going on about how well they're governing the country and the economy and they've got there's no debt in the budget, etc., that's belief disconfirmation plus selective perception joining forces. They just come up with bigger and bigger lies to explain away our problems. They can't blame climate change or corporate greed from the fossil fuel companies. Identifying the real causes would mean they'd have to actually address the problems. And they can't. They can't stand up to big oil. They can't stand up to all their political donors, their corporate donors. So they look for convenient answers, even if those answers make no sense at all. But they're not meant to make sense. They're not supposed to make sense. They're supposed to alleviate dissonance. That's the point. That's the whole thing about cognitive dissonance. It's meant to make our lives easier, even though we're living in an untrue reality. It's a big problem and explains a lot. Not to mention, of course, having the Murdoch media banging on about the climate cult, the so-called climate cult, and all that doesn't really help either. It just helps people to deal with their cognitive dissonance, I suppose. So it is a big problem, and it's why a lot of people just don't want to believe. I think most people have it in the back of their heads. They know what's happening. They haven't put it all together, all the different things that are happening: biodiversity loss, climate change, global warming, ocean acidification, degradation of agricultural soils, deforestation, growth of pandemics, more right-wing governments being elected, they don't put them all together. But when you do, of course, it's leading us all to the cliff that we're heading towards at 100 miles an hour. It's the exponential curve, people, and we're right up at the top of it. Okay, I think it's time for a few oldies. Well, not that old. Maroon 5 with Memories. And then we do have an older one, The Carpenters, with Yesterday Once More. So here we go with Maroon 5 first.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain, when I believed in forever and everything would stay the same. Now my heart feel like December when somebody say your name. 'Cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day. Yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Yeah, yeah. But everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. There's a time that I remember when I never felt so lost, and I felt all of the hatred was too powerful to stop. Now my heart feel like an ember, and it's lighting up the dark. I'll carry these torches for you, and you know I'll never drop. Yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Yeah, yeah. But everything gon' be alright. Gonna raise a glass and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. Memories bring back your.
When I was young, I'd listen to the radio, waiting for my favorite songs. When they played, I'd sing along. It made me smile. Those were such happy times, and not so long ago. How I wondered where they'd gone. But they're back again, just like a long-lost friend. All the songs I love so well, every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. When they get to the part where he's breaking her heart, it can really make me cry. just like before. It's yesterday once more. Looking back on how it was in years gone by, and the good times that I had, makes today seem rather sad. So much has changed. It was songs of love that I would sing to them, and I'd memorize each word. Those old melodies still sound so good to me as they melt the years away. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. All my best memories come back clearly to me. Some can even make me cry, just like before. It's yesterday once more. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing so fine. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're
Sapphire Coast Bus Lines would like to thank every passenger who has used the on-demand bus service over the last 3 years. The trial for on-demand public transport in the Bega Valley has ended, and the success of the trial means that we now have a contract to continue this service into the future. Without the support of the community, this service would have ended long ago. We encourage all residents across the Shire to continue to use this service as often as possible. The door-to-door service will pick you up from your home, shops or workplace and take you where you need to go, around Bega, Merimbula or Eden. The service runs Monday to Saturday from 9:30am, and it's all just for the cost of a bus ticket. For more details, visit scbuslines.com.au or simply download the Flexibus Sapphire Coast app. Flexibus, public transport that comes to you. Sapphire Coast Bus Lines, proud sponsors of Edge FM Bega Community Radio.
So you've heard all the endless repeats on commercial radio with non-stop 3-day music marathons, and along the way have possibly paid out a rather large sum to get your 30 seconds of fame for very little return. Now compare this with the 93.7 Edge FM sponsorship deals. Your name and product can still be broadcast right around the Bega Valley for a fraction of the cost and twice the benefits. It helps us stay on air and greatly enhances your business reputation. For more information, give us a call on 6492 4202 during business hours.
Thank you, sponsors. Cognitive dissonance. Here's an example that's quite popular now about cognitive dissonance is all the people complaining about the climate protesters. They're blocking the road, they're chaining themselves to trees. You know, the government talks about changing the laws just for climate protesters, locking them up. People are very happy to jump on the bandwagon and slag off the protesters, but where's all the protest about the CEOs, the executives of the oil companies, of the fossil fuel companies, the ones who are actually causing the problem? Nowhere. Nowhere. That's what cognitive dissonance does to you. Research on cognitive dissonance over the last decades have found that people in general will go to extreme lengths to rationalise and justify their behaviour, regardless of how much damage it does to them or their friends or family. It doesn't even matter if millions of people are starving right in front of them. They'll look for a reason to keep smiling. because what they really care about is preserving their own mental state. Just look at the killing that's going on over in Gaza. Over 35,000 people have been killed, including women, children, aid workers, doctors, nurses, journalists. I think over 100 journalists have been killed. And yet, there's not too much of an outcry. There's a few little lip service announcements from governments around the world, but that's about it. And all the research about cognitive dissonance, all it tells us is as things get worse, as they will continue to, so will the ferocity of the denial, both personally and institutionally, from our leaders. I'm afraid to say, people, the world we grew up in is gone, but most people don't want to admit it because it creates an extreme level of cognitive dissonance. It's so much easier to just pretend that things are fine or that they will get better. We'll find a cure. We'll find a way. The majority of people don't want to admit that there's a airborne virus that guarantees severe chronic illness after a few infections for people. Doing that would make them uncomfortable. It'll require them to change their behaviour and admit responsibility. We have plastic floating in our bloods. There was a study came out just a couple of days ago about some researchers looking at microplastics. And it was a very small sample. I think it was only 35 men, but also dogs as well. I think they had a few more dogs, looking at microplastics in their testes. And 100% of them came back with microplastic in their testes. It's everywhere, you know. And it comes from our use of plastic on everything. Go to the supermarket and buy a cucumber wrapped in plastic, you know. Who wants to admit that this is a terrible thing? Much easier to go and buy a cucumber. You know, we live in a world where the heat can kill you in minutes and it's getting hotter. We live in a world where it's not safe to get on an aeroplane anymore. Clear air turbulence. And that aeroplane does more damage every minute that it spends in the sky. We live in a world where the biggest celebrities don't care if their concerts injure, sicken or kill their fans, as happened in Brazil with one of Taylor Swift's concerts. And neither do their fans, really. They still go to the concerts. We live in a world where our coffee and our chocolate, our electronics, just about everything, often our clothes, are produced by slaves halfway around the world who work long shifts, 16-hour days. It's all cognitive dissonance. We live in a world where bankers and shareholders celebrate crop failures and pandemics because they can speculate on the futures market because they can find a way to profit off them. We live in a world where the biggest corporations are designing algorithms to figure out the highest amount that they can charge for an item. We live in a world where producing something that's high quality for an affordable price is a bad business model and a liability. We live in a world where our leaders have chosen to make scarce commodities out of the basics, like food and clothing and shelter. Look at the housing market. Apparently, it's immigrants who are causing the housing problem, not the people who own 6, 7, 8 houses, a la Peter Dutton. And now clean air and water are becoming commodities as well. You can buy fresh air in some Chinese cities. And look at all the water that we buy in plastic bottles from everywhere. And most of us, we go along with it. Who wants to admit that they live in this sort of world? Nobody. Even for doomers like me, it's just disappointing and anticlimactic to know that even if we survive pandemics, famines, superstorms, droughts, floods, we'll die prematurely from cancer because of the microplastics in our food. On some level, everyone knows, I reckon, it would take a massive amount of effort to turn things around. It would mean very hard conversations, and we don't want to have them. Why should we give up flying when, the military can keep flying planes and dropping bombs around everywhere? It's not fair. It's all just cognitive dissonance at work. Everyone, we all can rationalise what we're doing because nobody's willing to make sacrifices or take responsibility. Unfortunately, it will come to the pointy end where we will. That's why I keep talking about echoing Just Collapse group saying that, collapse is inevitable, justice is not. That's the only thing that we've got left to fight for. to try and make it a little bit fairer as we go down with the boat. Anyway, that's cognitive dissonance, people. I reckon it's time for a few songs about lying. We've got Lily Moore, Lying to Yourself, followed by Vici with Liar Liar, because that's one thing that we are very good at, and that's lying to ourselves. That is cognitive dissonance. So here's Lily Moore, followed by Vici.
I know you've been hiding lately, but you were doing so well. You've been acting a little shady. Did you think I couldn't tell? I see past your baby blue. Everyone's at it, check the news. Man, are you dumb or just confused to do those things you do? Lying to yourself, lying to yourself. You keep lying to yourself, but don't lie to me. Maybe in a different time we'll be friends. Learn to cut the ties and mend. But when all your promises I pretend, makes it hard to love again. Lying to yourself, lying to yourself. You keep lying to yourself, but don't lie to me. 'Cause when you talk, you don't look me in the eye. When you walk, you ain't walking by my side. When you speak, you're not speaking to me, just somebody else who you trying to please. When you talk, you don't look me in the eye. When you walk, you ain't walking by my side. And I know what you're doing. I ain't stupid. Who you fooling when you keep on lying to yourself? Lying to yourself. You keep lying to yourself. But don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. You keep lying to yourself. But don't lie to me.
Liar, liar. Oh, you don't ever tell the truth. Liar, liar. Can't nobody see your fireproof.
Follow you to dust, leaving footprints on the clouds as we're walking home. Iron hearts all turn to rust by tears and the days on a diamond street. Kiss these apocalypse, chasing shadows, living dreams that don't exist anymore. We need to find a way. We know who we are and we're all going under. We're the past, we're the last, and we're left to wonder.
Avicii with Liar Liar. Yes, how fitting. And Lily Moore, Lying to Yourself, as we all do. That brings us to the end of another Music for the End of the World show, for the end of it. And thanks for tuning in and listening, people. We're talking about cognitive dissonance tonight, and we all suffer from it. Everyone. Look it up. Find out something about it. It explains a lot of our behaviour. I'd like to... and remember, collapse is inevitable, but justice is not. We can still do something. I'd like to finish off... I'll leave you with a song dedicated to my father, who loves this guy, and this is one of his favourite songs, Bright Side of the Road by Van Morrison. That's where Dad usually is. He's the eternal optimist. So this is for you, Pop. Bright Side of the Road. Thanks for tuning in, people, and good night.
Sometimes we don't know why. At times simply goes by so fast. In the twinkling of an eye. Let's enjoy it while we can.
Let's enjoy it while we can.
Help me share my love.